Hey guys, good morning. So today is my first day off of my new job. I'm working at Nova as an English instructor there. I teach adults and kids class and that sort of thing. And I wrapped up my training, and so now I'm kind of just taking it easy at the house on my first day off. My schedule is weird. I'm working Wednesdays to Sundays instead of the normal 9 to 5 Monday to Friday sort of thing. And I just wanted to maybe talk about Nova and the differences between Jet because there's actually a lot of differences, more than I realized, because I was signing up for this job and I applied to a whole bunch and I took like the second or third offer that came to me. I didn't get any other sort of positions like the Jet program where I was teaching at schools, teaching kids at schools. I got all these offers for Eikaiwa or English teaching schools for adults, which is great. I like it a lot. I've taught one full day so far. Um, yeah, but it's different. The pay scale's different. What they expect of you is different. That sort of thing. So I thought maybe just talk about what that all means for a little bit. And so yeah. So if you guys are maybe considering coming to Japan too, you can kind of weigh the benefits of both. I'm not gonna get super into it because a lot of the programs are different. But let's just hop into it and talk about it for a couple minutes. So let's go over some of these key differences. I've got the Nova contract here for me to refer to. And I'll be going kind of off memory with my JET program contract since I don't have that with me right now. Um, but for the most part, these programs are quite different. The JET program has a very long waiting period to get hired. You have to go in; it's very competitive. You have to write essays to be applied for, to do your application. You have to go and you have to have your actual interviews with your local consulates, and it's all very professional. And kind of run by the government. Including with that is when you arrive in Japan, you have 2 or 3 days of training days in Tokyo before you're shipped off kind of to wherever they decide to put you. And during those training days, you go to these big kind of seminars with a little bit of hands-on learning, but not too much. A lot of it's just kind of informational based, what to expect, this sort of thing. They do a good job of getting you hyped up. With Nova, that's quite different. When you are putting in your application, the application process can be done online over Skype. It's very relaxed. You need to wear your suit or your tie or your button-ups or whatever that might be. But you can kind of request where you want to go. Like I said, I wanted to be in Kobe. They said no problem. We have openings in Kobe, maybe in Osaka. Does that work for you? I said yeah, sure, no problem. And they told me that's where I could go. With Jet, they kind of put me wherever they want to put me. The training with Nova 2 just takes place over the course of 3 days. So you show up and you are essentially the first day you are no it's 4 days, 4 days of training with Nova, and the very first day is a little bit of like the JET program where it's kind of a seminar. You show up, but for me, I only had 3 other people taking my Nova introductory what are these called, training days with me. So it's pretty laid back and pretty easygoing. We just talked a lot about what the lessons contain. We looked at the Nova lesson books because we actually have books we're teaching out of this time that the students will also use to practice and refer to during the lessons and at home for their own use. So we talked about how the book works pretty much the whole first day. The second and third day were more hands-on, where we actually practice those lessons together as a group. So with the instructor who was there training us and the other new recruits. And then we had 2 lessons where we actually taught adults with a supervisor in the room in case something happened. The second day, same thing on the third day, and the fourth day was all about kids, and we talked about the Nova Junior program for children, where they go into like this is what you do when you teach kids, and you can teach like up to 8 kids, and these are different levels, and Nova's broken down into levels too. So with the JET program, you're teaching kids from elementary school to high school, and you can have big classes or small classes depending on your school. And you also have certain, training days where you're off learning new skills and doing that sort of thing. And with Nova, you also have training days and you do qualifications for other things, but you're primarily teaching adults in small groups of 1 to 4 at varying levels, sometimes beginner, sometimes very advanced. And then you also have kids classes too, but those come a lot less frequently. Your hours are also quite different. The JET program, I had to go to work at 8:45 every day and I could leave at 4:15, so the hours weren't incredibly long. And I had a little bit of time during the day to just kind of chill because I didn't work every single class. I didn't usually have a full schedule, so I'd have time to hang out and I could mess around on my phone. I could message my girlfriend. I could you know, kind of like get ready, plan things out for the rest of the day, plan out a video for YouTube, do that sort of thing. And with Nova, from what it seems like, is it's going to be pretty back to back to back to back to back lessons, because the classes don't run from 9 to 5, they run when people are off work or before work or school. So people, when they want to come learn English, they come during those times, and we work during those times. So I'm looking at my schedule right now. I work Wednesdays to Sundays, like I said before, and I work evenings on the weekdays, and then early morning, like not early morning, but 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. On the weekends. So my days off are Monday and Tuesday, which is weird because my girlfriend goes to work at her thing, and my friends are also not off on these days unless I meet other Nova recruiters or other Nova instructors. So that's a bit strange. Beyond that, as a Nova instructor, we don't get national holidays off. National holidays, like everyone else in Japan gets off because those are holidays and people want to come learn English. Nova says, hey, no no holidays, like national holidays. You guys are working those days, so I don't get those days off. We also don't get paid vacation time. There's a couple breaks in between, like for New Year's and summer holidays and things where we have vacation off, but we don't have to. But we don't get paid for those days off. Those are just kind of days off where we don't have to come into the office. And we can request days off, and we can get our schedule shifted relatively easily. Like if I need to take next week off and I let them know, 2 months ahead of time or a month ahead of time, then that's not too bad. I just don't get paid during those days. Same sort of thing. They're pretty lax about if I need to switch lessons with other people. Like I can just, if I communicate with my coworkers and my boss, that should be fine. So it can be pretty flexible. I just can't expect like, to walk in and be like, hey, I'm taking next week off, all right? I have to like work it out with them ahead of time. So that's a bit different because on the JET program, I had like 20 days off every year, and I could just say, okay, hey guys, next week I'm taking 5 days off, okay? And then I'd be able to peace out. So that's different there. Also, with the JET program, I'd get paid a flat rate every month. Didn't matter how much I came into work or didn't come into work. I made about $2,000 every month. I'm coming in for the JET program, a little bit more than that. That's just a rough estimate. So $2,000 a month on the JET program was guaranteed to me. And with the Nova agreement, my pay is reflected on how many days I work every week, which I guess makes sense, right? And also depending on the lessons that I teach. So for instance, if I show up and there's no one to teach, then I get like a 1,000 yen, right? Like for 40 minutes I earn 1,000 yen. But then if I teach a lesson, say a one-on-one lesson, I make closer to 1,300 yen for that lesson. And if I teach a group lesson, it's like 1,500 yen. Or if I teach a kids lesson, it's 1,600 yen. And then depending on if I do well and the students like me and I bump up in their bracket system, that's an extra 300 yen on top of my base salary for every lesson I teach. So potentially you could earn quite a lot teaching at Nova. But it depends on how many students are coming in, who's requesting your lessons, have you been ranked up in the system, that sort of thing. So those are like extremely basic things to consider back and forth. And I'm sure for Nova, it's similar for other programs like GABA is a big one, or ECC is another big Eikaiwa school around in Japan that you see like all over the place. So I'm sure those things are similar. So if you're watching this and you're trying to consider which one you want to do, consider those things. Beyond that, I have to wear like a suit or a button-up shirt and tie to work every day for Nova. In the JET program, I could just wear shorts and a t-shirt. It wasn't a big deal. And I guess I would say just on like a fundamental what I feel level is that Nova feels like I get to know my students really well because we're talking in English the whole time and I understand English better. But we can't really form relationships with the students outside of class. So like the people that I'll meet every week, I can't like go get a drink with them. We're not supposed to. That's in our contract. Whereas in the JET program, if I got to know a student and I ran into them and I got to know their parents, like I could hang out with their parents if I wanted to. Or say you work in, like a high school and you want to become the volleyball coach, and you become the volleyball coach and you go, you do volleyball stuff, you get to hang out with the kids and stuff like that. But that's not the same for Nova. So those are some things to consider. So yeah, that's like a real basic, real blunt, here are some really cut and dry differences between the two, but some things maybe you guys would consider if you're looking for a job that's not the JET program. So yeah, I'm kind of sad that I had to leave the JET program. but they don't let you change locations unless you are either like getting married or there's some sort of familial issue where you have to move locations in Japan. So I didn't have anything like that, so I just had to change jobs. So I took Nova position. So yeah. So guys, yeah, if you like this video, please give it a like, maybe subscribe, and leave a comment if you have a question about these kind of Eikaiwa jobs, or maybe the JET program, or for me in particular. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope that was an alright video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya!